Hello everybody, Video Game Freak here, and today we're going to be talking about how you can still retro video game collect, or just video game collecting in general, for cheap. Let's get into it. Alright, so I started really collecting, I would say about 2 years ago is when I got serious about it. Then I just every time I saw a Wii game for like 50 cents or $1, and I just picked it up, and it was just because I wanted it. And if you watch a video of a guy that has over 1,000 games, and you're like, whoa, and you have like 20 games, let's say, and you're like, whoa, how do I even get that? And you don't have that much money, you can still get a crap ton of games for very, very cheap. Now, just video game collecting is definitely been a lot more popular over the last years. It's been more accepted in like the community and people. Like if you say you collect video games, it might still be weird to some people, but it's still it's like not as bad as I don't know, the community. And I'm going to tell you some tips, tricks, and ways to get maybe some really expensive rare video games for cheap. Alright, so the first tip, I would say yard sales, flea markets, Goodwills, thrift stores. All used stores. Now there is always the very expensive game, like you're gonna see a game and it says $50 and it's worth $2. Like there's always gonna be somebody that's trying to sell that cheap $1 game for like $50, and there's always gonna be that person that's selling a $50 game for $1. It's just gonna happen. It's sometimes you might find a million $100 games for 50 cents, or you might find it's just your luck. And I found some really good deals over the years. I found this game right here, Wario World. I got this for $3, and it retails for this much, which is definitely over quadruple or whatever. And I really love that game. And if you, let's just say you wanted to start collecting maybe for the GameCube, or you wanted to start collecting for the 360 or any other system, I would just say go to garage sales. And if, let's say you want to start collecting for 360 and you go to a garage sale and you just see a 360 sitting there, no cords, no controllers, and you just see it, let's just say $15. Now, you might pass by it and just say, oh, I already have a 360, I don't need that, and it looks beat up or whatever. Ask if they have controllers or video games. Controllers, if they sell them for cheap, you can easily flip controllers and get a profit from them if they sell them pretty cheap. And video games, if they're not out, if let's say, hey, they ask, if there's an Xbox on the table and you, ask them, never feel bad or anything to ask them. The worst thing they could say is, no, that's all I got. That's the worst thing they could say. So always ask, hey, do you got any 360 games? Because I see the system here. Or if you look in a stack of DVDs and you see one Wii game or one GameCube game, and say, hey, do you got any more GameCube games or the system? And you might already have the system, but if you see a GameCube or a Wii or something really, really cheap, look up how much they go on eBay sold listings and see if you could, I would say, if you can over double your money, it's definitely worth picking up. If you see any system's pretty much $10 or under, definitely pick them up, unless they're really, really beat up. But yeah, always ask when you're at yard sales. If you see if you see a controller just sitting on a table and they don't have a system, ask, and they might put down your number, or they might just go inside and pull out this amazing box of great games. I've had that happen before, and I've learned a lot. Another thing is with negotiating. If you've never really negotiated that much, or you're kind of a shy person and you don't want to talk to random strangers, you gotta do it. If you see, sometimes, let's just use Wario World as an example. Let's say somebody has $10 in this game and you don't want to spend that much. Maybe it's a good deal already at $10, but ask for a little bit cheaper either way. I mean, if this game's $1 and it's worth $100, don't try to get it for 50 cents and just try to be a bad person about it. But if it's they have it decently priced, try to get it $1 or $2 cheaper. If you see a game, and it's especially at a yard sale, they're trying to get rid of that crap. Most people at yard sales are just trying to get rid of it. Flea markets, same thing. They just want to get all rid of it. So you'd be surprised if you really just lowball. Just lowball. I mean, don't ask $1 if they're asking 20, but ask a reasonably I got this Dreamcast here for $3 because the dude thought it was a Wi-Fi modem. I talked about this before, and he had it at 5, and he had no cords with it. So I said, and it was pretty dirty. I cleaned it up a lot, and I said, "Would you take 3?" Now, is that really a bad thing to do? No, because A, it's untested. He didn't know if it works. No cords, no controller, no games, and it looked pretty dirty. So I mean, if it's that, then you can definitely lowball. But if it's like a really nice condition, like something, just be honest with people. Don't try to really scoop them out of money, but definitely lowball people. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to negotiate. Don't be afraid to say or walk away. Next thing is you can feel free to walk away from something if you really wanted a game, and if they're just not budging, or if it's pretty much close to retail price, just walk away. You'll find another copy of the game, or you'll find if they're not negotiating at a yard sale or flea market or anything like that, just walk away. Now, thrift stores is different. In Goodwills, you obviously can't negotiate at a thrift store or a Goodwill, but you could still find pretty good deals at thrift stores. Like I found my Super Nintendo. I found that Super Nintendo with 2 controllers plugged into it, and the AV cable and the power brick. It had everything. $20. That's insane. And both the 2 controllers plugged into it were licensed OEM. It looked pretty good. It had a little bit just dust on top. That was it. It was amazing. Also, Sega Genesis Model 3. I'll show a picture right here. Got it for $8 with 2 licensed Genesis controllers at a thrift store. And I think it didn't have any power cables, but they're pretty cheap either way. But still, great deals, because obviously you see they go for a lot more, and I spent $28 and I made yada yada. And you could still find them at thrift stores. They might have a Super Nintendo for $100 at a thrift store. Obviously not a good deal. But if you see it, that means there's other stuff that could definitely be... If you see a Super Nintendo, they could have Super Nintendo games, but they didn't price them as high. So just always think, if you see a Wii for $100 at a thrift store or something, think, okay, there's something video game related here, but there might be more. So just keep looking. Also, another thing, disc-based system games. If there's the Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all. Disc-based system games with it's in a CD-style case. Always look in the CD section just to see if there's any PlayStation 1 games or Dreamcast games or any other CD-based games in just CD cases. Always check them out. If you don't like PlayStation 1 or Dreamcast, or you're not looking for them, obviously don't, but you could find some really good deals for easily flipping. I found, I forget what PlayStation game it was, but it was a PlayStation 1 game that was worth a decent amount. And I flipped it, and I got money for other games that I wanted to get. So it's really easy to flip if you're not used to selling stuff, or if you've never sold anything before. You don't always have to sell it. You could always trade it into your local game store that gives you good trade-in for it. If a game store doesn't give you... Let's say I got this game, it's worth $10. And if you go to trade into a game store, it's worth $10. And they don't give you half value, I would say that's not really a game store that's giving you a good deal. I would say they need to give you at least, I would say, a little bit less than half or half value of the game when trading. If they do give you half value, and always, if you're trading in with a store, feel free to, if they say, I'll give you $20 for this, say give me 30, say give me 40. Be like that. I mean, if they're giving you a good deal, obviously don't, but don't take always the first negotiating deal. And sometimes at yard sales, I'm kind of bouncing back through a bunch of places, but I'm just trying to tell you guys, it is really, it's not necessarily easy, but you could definitely learn very quick how to make really good deals on getting video games. Now, negotiating, I'm going to hop back to that for a second. If you see just obviously I said if you see a loose game or just see a game, ask if they have the system or controllers. But if you're negotiating, just feel free to lowball. I've said that, but it's very, very important. You just always want to do it, and because there's sometimes where something's marked at $20 and you offer them $5 and they take it like that. Some people are like that, and some people, if you offer them 19 and it's $20, they're not gonna go a dollar less. It just depends on the seller, depends on the environment. If they're at a place where a lot of foot traffic's going on and there's a bunch of people at the yard sale, then they're probably not going to barge down as much. But if they're at a place where like nobody's just at a garage sale and there's been 5 people there that day, they're probably going to negotiate a lot more because they probably just want to get rid of the crap. But at flea markets, if you go to inside flea markets where they just have a booth, they don't really negotiate that much. I've negotiated with this one guy at a flea market I've been with, and he's cool, but inside flea markets, not usually good luck. Good luck finding good deals in those. It does happen, though. I got F-Zero for, I think, $3 in there, which isn't a great deal, because it goes for 10, but still, it's a pretty good deal. And just always keep your eye out for things. When I go flea marketing, I go down the aisles that are just random crap just thrown everywhere on a table. I found a Wave Race 64 underneath some records before. There's just some records. Lifted up the records. I was looking at the records too. And I saw Wave Race 64 just chilling there. And that was he gave me, I think it was 50 cents or $1, which isn't it's a good deal, but it's not an amazing deal. But still, go down, the places that say video games, or they have a big sign that says video games, or they have all their games displayed and it's just all fancy like that, they're obviously resellers and they want to get the most they can out of their games. But a place that has Barbies and Hot Wheels and then just some clothes and then has a Nintendo 64, you'll be okay, they're probably going to be a lot cheaper, probably going to be negotiable, and definitely going to be wanting to get rid of it. So I would say definitely recommend that. I have learned that the hard way. I've rushed inside because there's video games in there, and there's 100% a chance of video games inside because there's a guy that has a booth inside. And yeah, it's stupid because there is some circumstances where outside there is some people that will never negotiate with you, but it's honestly everybody, nice vendors and nice sellers will probably give you at least a buck or two off. But yeah, that's some quick tips. Trying to think if I have any more. Bundling. If you see a stack of games, 5 games that you want, 10 games that you want, just try to buy, if you're at a yard sale, try to just buy them all and then sell the ones you don't want. If let's say you wanted 2 games out of the 20 games in a box, and the box was super, super cheap, buy the whole box if it's just cheap, and then pick out the 2 games, sell that box, or pick out the games you want, sell the box of games, and make money while doing that. And you get free games plus money. Best thing you could do. I've seen lots of games where it's just a bunch of games, and I already have yada yada, and I don't need, or I don't want this game, but I want this game. And sometimes people just want to sell it all at once. Sometimes they're individual. It really just depends on the seller. But just feel free to ask. If there's sometimes, which really gets me annoyed, if people don't want to part games with systems or controllers with systems, which I understand it, but it's just there's this cool GameCube controller I wanted with a GameCube, but they wanted I think $60 for the GameCube, which isn't actually a horrible deal, especially with the controller, but I just wanted the controller and I didn't have a bunch of money on me that day, and I just wanted to buy the controller separately. Sometimes people will do that, sometimes they won't. It's I've got a Princess Peach Wii remote one time with it was with the Wii bundle, and I asked, hey, can I get the remote and not the Wii, because I already obviously have a Wii. Everybody's got a Wii pretty much. And I got that, and he gave me a really good deal. He was wanting way more. The most people think the system's going to be worth way more, which it usually is. But if you just ask for like something like maybe a cord or a controller, they're probably, if they do split it up, it's probably going to be way cheaper. So yeah, those are just some quick tips. If you have any questions at all about negotiating, bundling, anything, if you want to ask me about my greatest deals, I might make that into a future video. But yeah, any questions, comment down below. Happy to answer any of them. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks for all the support. See you in the next video.